This is a chart of the rates, the base rate of the United Kingdom since 1694 and the long-term rate on the United States. Attempt to demonstrate that the real problem on the recurrent crisis of last years actually was monetarism fault. Since Milton Friedman and Anna Schwartz make the statement, inflation is always and everywhere a monetary phenomenon, a simplistic view that is completely wrong, since it doesn't take into account the imbalances between supply and demand of real goods. This simplistic view of the monetarist school, what ended up doing is disrupting a long-term relationship between interest rates and the real economy. So this argument for the demand of money being a stable function and a consequence of inflation being a consequence of this argument gained support in the late 60s and first years of the 70s. As we can see in this chart, since 1694, as we can see the year over here, 2% for the base rate in the United Kingdom was a strong support, a support that lasted 315 years up until a couple of days ago when 1.5 was declared the base rate, and 10% was a resistance. 10% points on the base rate of the United Kingdom was a resistance for 279 years, the point of no return. Every time that point was achieved, the rate went down, down and down until the support of 2 points. Why the argument could be that 10% was understood as at a level that couldn't be crossed in a sustainable economy. Okay, when monetarism kicks in 60s and 70s, fear of inflation kicks in 1973. The view of the concept of being only monetary view of the inflation, if you prefer, made this break. After 279 years, United Kingdom crossed this level up until a strong level in 17 points in early 80s. And as we can see, the pattern was pretty stable. Actually, the two equilibrium was between 2 and 6 points. 10 points was extremely rare at the moment. Only 3 times was achieved, and most of the time we were between 2 and 6 for almost 300 years. Okay, now we can see that when monetarism took control of the situation and the overuse of exchange rate, interest rate was used to everything. Actually, we can see the extreme volatility that took place and the aberration of being 10% over the base rate. The base rate, we're not talking of the interest rate of the economy to the private sector or non-financial sector. And now we see the last aberration, that is interest rate below 2% at 1.5. This is not a situation only in the base rate of the United Kingdom. This irrational fear of inflation was again seen in all major economies, including the United States, as we can see in the next chart. Okay, in this chart we have the long-term rate of the United States. We have no little less data than the United Kingdom. We have data from 1753 instead of 1694, but we can view the long-term data either way. As we can see, the pattern is the same. 10% was a resistance at least from 1753 to till 1973. That's 220 years of resistance, and in this case the support was above the 2%. Let's take into account that the data series we are using in the United Kingdom is short-term and this is long-term, but the pattern is still the same. And as we can see, as monetarism gained room in the policy of the governments, we can see that the increase of the rate is really astronomical. As we can see in 1973, again fear of inflation in America kicks in, and we see long-term rates of 15%, and as we can see, the extreme volatility kicks in as well, and the pattern is still the same. We see the wrong way to use interest rates to solve problems that actually cannot be solved by interest rate manipulation. As we can see, from 1753 to more or less beginning of World War II, as we can see, the pattern is pretty stable. It has increases or decreases strong because of wars, nothing else. This is the Civil War of America, and this is the First World War, and this is the Second World War. But this time we don't see any wars, not of importance to see these interest rates jumping and declining to this speed. So as we can see, the problem of the last crisis, since it seems it happens faster and faster, is the misuse of the interest rates. Actually, Greenspan started this crisis when put the interest rate at 1 for over a year and a half. Bernanke, with fear of inflation, forgive me, but 5 points of inflation is nothing, didn't see a third world inflation, it seems, tried to cut back that inflation of 5 points, that is nothing, to increase of 400 times, 4 times or 5 times, if you prefer, of the rates, and now they put the rate at 0. That means that the next crisis will kick in and will be worse than this crisis.